for joining me this morning. I know life has gotten really bonkers lately.
It really has. I'm so glad we're doing this.
Yeah, we should do this more often.
Absolutely.
It's pretty good.
It is pretty good.
So I wanted to tell you, I went to Josie's parent-teacher meeting the other night.
How's she doing?
Yeah, so she's doing really well. Her teacher said that she's moving up to reading at a level 3.
A level 3, wow. Is that like a DRA level or an accelerated reader level? Is it PM reader, or what's the other one? What letter is that in Fountas and Pinnell? I'm not sure what Lexile level that would be either. Are you gonna pick out books for her at the library?
Well, I sure was gonna try.
It's so confusing, isn't it?
I know. Well, you know where I think we can find some answers?
Where?
Shelf improvement at the Hopkinton Public Library. Hi folks, and welcome to the Genre of the Month. You may have noticed that this month we are talking about easy readers. To help me, an adult librarian, understand this area of children's literature, I have with me Andrea Calibri, who is our Youth Services Supervisor. Hello, Andrea. Thank you so much for joining me today to talk about this.
Thank you for having me.
So, what is an easy reader?
That's an excellent question. So easy readers are sometimes called early readers, and they are the books that are read by kids who are just learning to read. So they are going through the learning to read stage, not the reading to learn stage. And they're typically highly decodable books for them to sound out the words, or they'll include a mix of decodable words and sight words. And they've taken into account the complexities that syntax and plot and dialogue present for early readers.
Okay, so how is an easy reader different from a chapter book or a picture book?
Great question. So picture books are typically read by an adult to a child, and their purpose is to entertain. They might be read by more proficient child readers, but typically it's an adult reading them to a child. Whereas chapter books are meant to be very entertaining and to be read by a proficient child reader, such as maybe a middle elementary to upper elementary child.
Okay, so the easy readers are filling this gap.
Yes.
Where the parent isn't reading to the child anymore, the child is reading on their own, but they're not necessarily up to the level of a chapter book yet.
Correct, yes.
Okay, so easy readers are really challenging to select. There's a lot of confusion around them. Why are they so difficult to navigate?
That's an excellent question. It's something we observe a lot at the library. So easy readers, there are a lot of different leveling systems out there, and the instructional leveling systems they use in the schools are not often used by publishers. So the publishers that we have at the library will sometimes have their own leveling systems as well. And what one publisher calls a level 1 is not the same as a level 1 from another publisher. So it's comparing apples and oranges. And often we find parents and children really confused about how to find a just right book for themselves.
Right, so how do you pick out a just right book?
That's an excellent question. So at the library, we've observed a lot of confusion about how to pick out a just right book. So based on my knowledge and expertise as a speech-language pathologist, I did a lot of work with children regarding reading. And based on literature such as Kathleen Horning's From Cover to Cover, we've implemented a very simple leveling system of our own. We have taken the easy readers and added these really great color coding labels. You'll notice them right here on the spine. And so we have 4 different levels. The first is our pink books. These are books that work on those very first reading skills, such as alphabet knowledge, sound symbol correspondence, sight words, word family sounds. And then we have our level 1 books. These are the very first books a child might try to decode and read. We've got a great example of what one of those might look like. You'll see typically like 2 to 7 lines of text on each page. Most of the page will be a picture, very simple sentences, and not a lot of plot going on. Then we've got our blue books. Those are our second books. They're a little bit harder, all the way up to our books with the orange sticker. And you'll see here that they've gotten quite a bit more complex. There's more lines on each page, longer sentences. You'll even see dialogue. We've got more complex plots. Pictures take up even less of the page. And so with that leveling system, we're hoping that parents can say, oh, I know that my child is reading at about a blue level, so I'll pick out some blue books, and maybe I'll pick out a couple of easy purple books to go with it. And they can even say to their child, hey, why don't you try picking out some blue ones and some purple ones? And so both the parent and the child can get involved. And now they don't have to compare different publishers in their leveling systems. We've done the comparing for them.
Right, and parents can always talk to a librarian to get recommendations and to figure out what the different colors mean, because I know that those colors just went straight out of my brain.
Yeah, there's great signage over in the Easy Reader section and great visuals to help guide parents, but the librarians are always happy to help. This is a project that we really did because we want parents and children to feel more confident when selecting books, and when I was leveling them, I had to touch every single book and give it a level. So it's something we feel very passionate about.
Well, I feel much more confident about selecting easy readers for the children in my life now. So thank you so much for explaining that to us. And we hope to see you again soon.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. This is the Thing of the Month, the segment of the show where we talk about something unexpected that you might find at the library. This month, I want to briefly highlight our Seed Library, which is new. We've had it out for just a couple months. This is an area in the library where you can select a handful of packets of seeds that you can take home and plant in your home garden. This is a new initiative that has been started by Allie Keeney, who is our circulation supervisor, and we will be having her on in a future show to talk about how she came up with the idea, how she implemented it, and what kinds of seeds are available for you and your family. So if you haven't checked that out yet, you should do that soon because the planting season is definitely in full swing. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the special guest segment of the show. Today, we are talking to Andrea Calibri, who is our Youth Services Supervisor. Hello, Andrea. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Danielle.
So, can you tell me a little bit about how long you've been at the library and what sort of things you do at the library?
Sure. Well, right now I am the Youth Services Supervisor, and I've been in that position since September of 2023. But I first started at the library back in February of 2018 as a circulation substitute. And then I joined the library full-time in May of 2019 as the children's librarian. So I've been with the library for a little over 6 years.
Great. Well, I know that you are a fixture. So many people love to see you. And of course, everybody's favorite time of year is summer when we do summer reading, which everybody gets super excited about. So can you tell me a little bit about summer reading?
Sure. So summer reading is a really important time at the library, and it's a very exciting time at the library when we all celebrate our love of reading. That includes kids, teens, and adults. It's particularly important for kids because it occurs over summer vacation when they're not in school. So it's a great opportunity for kids to maintain their reading skills, but also develop that habit and love of reading.
Yeah, so we all know that summer reading is really important. So say I have a reluctant reader in my life. I think we all have one kid who just, is not really that into reading. How do you encourage them to read over summer?
Well, that's a great question. So we have in our summer reading program added some really fun incentives for kids to read over the summer. Last year we had 5 drawing baskets that were very popular. So kids would earn drawing tickets and they'd get to put them towards whatever raffle basket they wanted. And that was so popular that we're bringing that back again this year. So we'll have 5 different drawing baskets that appeal to kids 0 to 12. And each week that a child reads, they can earn up to 3 drawing tickets. That's a chance to earn 27 drawing tickets because it's 9 weeks long. So that's 27 chances to win one of the baskets. And kids can also earn book prizes to keep, which kids love to earn those.
Great. And I do want to point out also, as one of the adult librarians, that summer reading is also open to teens and to adults. Our program might look a little bit different just because teens and adults and kids are all a little bit different, but summer reading is absolutely something that the entire family can participate in together.
Yeah, including kids who are not even yet reading, because reading with a grown-up always counts.
Yeah, reading with a parent absolutely counts for the kid and for the parent. Okay, so summer reading is coming up. When does it start?
That's a great question. So it will start, as usual, the last week of school. So it will start Sunday, June 16th. We will be using a paper reading log this year, and families can start picking that up on June 10th at the library. And it will run for a total of 9 weeks.
That sounds great. Well, I will definitely be there to pick up my reading log and reading logs for all of my family members so that we can enjoy our summer reading to its fullest.
Excellent.
All right, well, thank you so much for joining me today, Andrea.
Thank you for having me.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to On the Horizon, the part of the show where we talk about something new at the library. So you may have noticed that we have a new book club. It is called Over the Rainbow, and it is an LGBTQ book club. So it talks about folks who are gay or lesbian or bi in books and literature. We also have an older book club that we've been having going for a while, and that one is a passive book club. So you pick up the book, you take it home, read it with your family. That one is our diversity book club, and you may have noticed it. It's next to the director's office, and it has 3 different titles for different age groups on it. And we wanted to talk to you today a little bit about why it's important for libraries to have lots of different types of books. For this discussion, I have Jack Miller with me. She is our assistant director. Thank you so much for joining me today, Jack.
Thank you, Danielle, for having me.
So we have so many different types of books in the library, and I wanted to talk a little bit about why that is important. So my first question for you is, why is it important that we read books that have people in them who are different from ourselves?
That's a great question. So reading books that have different people or different experiences from that we have lived or that's our own is important, so that way we can see different perspective, and it can inform decisions of our own decisions, or it can give us perspective that is different than our own, or give us kind of a different view or a different kind of look at someone else's life, and it kind of help us see things that maybe we haven't seen before that we viewed in our own lives.
Yeah, and it's funny that you're talking about how you can see different perspectives from other people's point of view, but you can also see different perspectives from your own point of view, so to speak. I know that I have read books about characters who are very similar to me, who may do something differently or think about something differently than I have. And even though me and this character may have many, many similarities, even just those small differences might help me think about something in a new way or encounter something in a new way.
Oh, definitely. So take my twin sister and I have a twin sister. She's a librarian. We literally came from the same womb, but we experience books very differently. Even the same book, from the same perspective, we could experience differently. That's the same to be said about a character who may seem very similar, or a nonfiction book that is maybe written by someone who's very similar to ourselves or has a similar perspective. They may also react differently or have a different view of a situation or a political structure or a scientific advancement or just anything that could inform their views that could be different than our own. So it's really important to get that different view, even though outwardly they may look quite similar to ourselves.
So we know that it's really important to read really widely, but even as we do that, we all know that there are things that we like and things that we don't like. And when a person walks into a library, it's very likely that they may see a book that they don't like, and it may just be genre, or it may be something a little bit different from that. So as someone who is entering the library, what should I do when I encounter those sorts of materials?
So it's real easy. If you see something that doesn't jive with you, whether it's with your values or your taste, you don't pick it up. You don't have to interact with it necessarily. It's not everything is going to mesh with you as a person or your values, and that's perfectly okay. It's going to mesh with somebody else's. So that's going to be available for that person that it does mesh with. But if it's something that is not going to work for you, that's all right. Just leave it where it is. and make that available for another patron, and then go seek out something that might be a little bit more attractive to you. You're never gonna find me reading a slasher horror book. I love horror, but I like it to be gentle horror. There's something that I just don't like about something that's gonna scare the pants off of me. It's not my jam. So I'm gonna leave it for people that it is their jam.
And I'm so glad that you brought up the topic of values, because that is something that is being talked about in the wider literature world right now, especially in regards to children's literature.
Definitely.
And there are plenty of parents who are raising their children and want their children to have certain values, which is an important part of raising children. And so when you're going to the library with your children, it's really, really important to go with your children. And visiting the library and picking out books together is a really, really good time to talk about your family's values, why you have those values, why they're important to your family, and how to navigate the wider world, not just books, but the wider world in general, while living out those values. So visiting the library can be a wonderful time for your family to talk together about what makes your family special and important and cohesive, and how to do that as your children grow and learn and develop.
And we have librarians that can also help with that too. So if parents have concerns over content that is in books, we can't expect a parent to read every book or understand what is in every book. So our librarians can also help steer parents in a direction of saying, hey, what is necessarily something that might be age appropriate for one child might not be age appropriate or developmentally appropriate for another. And that might be a conversation that we can have with the parents to help them find a book that aligns with their values. A lot of parents, may not want a younger child exposed to a certain, say, violence in books. So that's fine. We can help steer them that way, and also help have the conversation or give them pointers to have the conversation about with their children of, maybe why they're choosing or selecting a book for their family and why it's right for them.
Sure. And then lastly, so we've talked about folks' responsibilities to themselves when they're entering the library to find what you like, and there's plenty in there that you might not, and that's fine. And also to their families, that when you're going together as a family, that's a good time to speak together about values and the types of books that you want to read together. But readers also have a responsibility to everyone else who is reading. And I really want to talk about that a little bit as well. Could you start us off on that?
Oh, yeah, definitely. So as readers, our responsibility to other readers is let everybody read. And let everybody read what they want to read. You don't have to like what someone else is reading. There's a lot of stuff that other people read that maybe I wouldn't like, and that's okay. And so the idea is just leave the things for other people to read that they want to read. Take the things that you want to read and read the things that you want to read, and that way everybody has materials available for them to read what they want to read, and support each other in reading anything they want to read, because folks who read are more informed and enjoy what they're doing and just become better overall people to themselves and others in the community.
Yeah, and I'm so glad that you mentioned that, there are parts of the collection that may be for you and parts that aren't. And that goes for librarians as well. So I am, part of my job as a librarian is to select books for the library. And I have absolutely purchased books within the last couple of months that I disagree with or don't think I would enjoy. And I do that because I know that there are other people out there who have different opinions than mine and different reading preferences than mine. And I want to make sure that those people also have books available to them. It's not fair for me to spend this public money for a public library on books just for me. So I want to make sure that everybody has books that they are finding and that they enjoy. And if you visit the library and you don't see something on the shelf that you like or that you find interesting, let the librarians know, because if we hear from you folks that, there's a certain author or a certain topic that you want to read about that isn't on our shelf, we can do what we can to try to get some of that into the library.
Yeah, and we do a lot of that actually. And I even had a teen patron last month that made a suggestion about a series that we didn't have and other libraries in the consortium didn't have. We brought it in and it's circulating wildly now. So sometimes we just miss things because we are in knowing, all knowing. And sometimes we miss stuff, and we get great tips from our readers.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining me for this conversation, Jack.
Thank you, Danielle. I appreciate you having us.
Oh my goodness, I cannot believe that anybody is reading this smut. That is just not right for a library. Oh my God, I read this last week and it was so spicy. I would definitely love to see Timothée Chalamet in a Netflix version of this. But wait, did you know that the library spends over $100,000 a year to buy books and materials? In the past 12 months, we've added 8,500 titles to our circulating collection. I guess I've got some reading to catch up on. See you next time.